I'm jealous of you. I'm trying to do those like days for Sunday because I'm like working now 13 to like 12, 13 hours a day. So I'm like, okay, Sunday is off limits. Fuck off, everyone. Because
Yeah, of course. It'll be
Hell
fun.
yeah.
I'm interested to hear what David has to say about double standards anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, me
The
too.
takes are gonna be like here, then here.
I have zero patience as well. I was like, nope. Sorry to repeat, it's reboot
You start.
episode of from we transferring from Daily Dick Show to a new name that is a surprise for you guys. So we are going to still do sex, just under the different name for the podcast.
Yeah.
And this is a second part of our double standard episode, which is also contains a reboot part of our entire podcast show. And I have my lovely friends here, David and Becks, as a couple who will elaborate more with us on double standards. And D couldn't be with us because he's stuck with work, and it is what it is. Hey, you guys.
Go for it.
oh,
Go first.
thank you. Yeah, my name is Bex. I am originally from Los Angeles, but now I live in St. Louis and I work in the arts. I work in theater.
Hi, I'm David, and I'm a musician, uh, a songwriter and a producer, and I'm from Panama originally, but I live in the States now.
Yeah, and but like a year ago or so, me and David met in Madrid when I was living there, and I went for a couple shows that he did. He plays saxophone, right? And
Yeah.
the main instrument. So yeah, it was really cool. And now we in to talk about double standards. Have you guys ever faced each of you like any double standards in the world in general?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
I think me personally, women face a lot of double standards in our gender identity every single day, from, sexual experiences all the way to the clothes that we wear, all the way to men being allowed to be shirtless and women not being allowed to breastfeed in public. So,
Yes, I very much hate it. Because I have so many cute like lingerie tops that would be great as tops, but I cannot wear because I'm asking for it or whatever.
I mean, that's a whole thing for sure. I feel like women especially are pressured to wear certain clothings, and that's like the clothing that's advertised on billboards with the supermodels. And then if you actually wear the clothing in real life, like, you're a slut.
Yeah, well, that's not the topic of slut shaming, and yeah, that's a big one, and it's very irritating. But what about like how like I precisely know how it states, like from what I've heard, but like how is your being from LA? Because LA, I heard like pretty chill place, right? So is it same as like everywhere else, or is it more like because it's very open, no?
Yeah, I mean, California is like very chilled and relaxed, but I feel like we face a different kind of pressure in LA because, beauty standards are even held to a higher extreme and everybody wants to be famous or be a celebrity.
So true.
Right.
So there's a lot of competition in LA. Especially from people that move to LA because they think LA is going to give them all their hopes and dreams. I feel like the people that are from California, I'd like to say we're a lot more chill, but I could just be biased.
But here in Missouri, where we live now, it's like complete. It's like 10 years behind that.
Oh,
It's a little more bold. Like the difference is on like stereotypes and definitely double standards. I
mm-hmm.
mean, although it's like a really progressive city is trying, I feel like there's a big movement and there's a lot of people like young people being involved with everything. But still, like LA is such a different vibe, and I feel like LA already they're always like the forefront of changes around like in the country, pretty much.
Well, if you say like, what's that, Missouri State, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if imagine if Missouri is like 10 years behind LA or California, imagine how far away Ukraine is. It's like, and I mean, we're not like half of the country or even more, like 70% or 75% are not even okay with LGBTQ things. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. But like, okay, Bax, did you ever like experience double standards in your job? Because you work with art and theater. So like, besides like being this like famous thing called there to like to pursue that dream or whatever, because it's Hollywood and everything, have you ever like faced that like double standards at work?
Yeah, I've definitely faced it for a couple different reasons. There's definitely the aspect about being a woman that no matter what job you're in, there's a power dynamic at play, unfortunately. So that's, a given. So, I mean, the other aspect of, being in a position of power is being a young person. Age is definitely affects, I feel like, the respect that I get. There are a lot of people that I feel like talk down at me because they think that I don't have enough experience,
Right.
when I was extremely qualified to get the position that I was given.
Right. Bex, how old are you though?
I'm 27.
See, in Ukraine, when you're 27, you're pretty much done. You have to have family, kids, career and everything, because soon you're gonna die. Because 27 is nearly 30.
I know. I mean, that's true here too. I mean, especially in the Midwest where we are, the pressure to get married and have a family and children is really high.
But is it like works for both genders or just for women?
I think both, to be honest. Like, I do feel like sometimes people tend to do comments on girls that have not had like a family after 30. Like, it's a little more like prominent, like, oh, like, what are you waiting for, or whatever. Like, I feel like from a Latin family, it kind of comes like that a little bit. Like, the guys,
Right.
I don't know. I feel like it's almost similar, but I feel like always like the girl gets a little more of like, of a little more focus on that.
We were talking in the previous episode with D that it's like mostly like that I face like, oh, why don't you have kids? Because the clock is ticking. And I was like, have you seen the clock? Like, do you have the one that I don't have? Do you have my clock? I was like, I'm confused. How do you know when it's time for me? Because it's very sad because people get, in a relationship and getting married and then having kids early and then getting divorced. And those kids are like, in between or not having daddy or mommy, in both ways. And the kids are growing up like kind of fucked up, because they didn't have the proper life and love from both
I can
parents.
take this one.
Okay,
Right?
yeah, do tell.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it is true because I feel like I do feel like in your 20s you figure out like a lot about life, and like, you just figure out a lot of things like who you are, because you grow up like all year. When you're younger, you grow up and people tell you what to do, people tell you like, oh, these are the tools you can use and blah blah. But like when you're 20, you become a little explorer, and then you are like, oh shit, I like that, oh man. And then, like, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but for me, I feel like it was like that. Like, I don't think I would. I feel like whenever you're the more seasoned or more prepared to be in a relationship, the better or the more lasting it will be.
Right.
And
Like
also,
the better
like,
inside of the relationship, yeah.
yeah, and it's also just not statistically true anymore. Like, we live in a world where people live longer, you're fertile longer, like we're not dying at the age of 40. That's why having a child at 18 makes sense.
Right.
Women can carry children way longer than they were ever able to before because we have better doctors and health in general.
Yeah.
So those are just so outdated ways of thinking,
And it's very sad because it's still out there, like look around you, like you're using your phone, like you can connect with everyone on your phone, like worldwide, yet you think like not having kid for someone by some certain age that you made up in your mind is like, for like out of the like, oh my god, how, But then it's totally like ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, have you ever like heard of the most ridiculous double standards? I mean, they're all stupid and like as Beck said, like outdated, like it's been like century at least, you know, or like even 50 years. Let's not going that far. But like the ridiculous one that not only that doesn't make even sense on a history level. Have you ever faced those?
That's tough.
I don't know.
I-
It's all right.
I think there's a few that I can think of. Like one of the ones that like makes me so angry is
Fine.
that men are supposed to be emotionless.
Oh,
And
yes.
like very, very like
For sure.
strong and you know, are not allowed to feel anything or to hurt, you know.
Yes.
I don't get that one.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
ridiculous because we were actually with Dee talking about in the previous episode about it because men do cry, and the more they express their emotion freely, the less anger they have inside of them that a lot of men, you know, sometimes or pretty much often put out on other people around them, women, other guys, kids, you know, family, which is not healthy for everyone around. So that's really actually a good point. Like, besides being like double standard from back in the day, it never made any sense. Never.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Men should
It only
cry.
fits one
We should
kind of
hug and
person.
everyone. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying he only fits one kind of guy. Like, you know, like a lot of guys don't feel identified with being like that, or, you know, some people like to be more emotional or whatever. So definitely it creates a lot of problem in like, you know, if you don't fit that, like if you're totally opposite, if you're a person that you never see yourself an athlete or anything, you know, you grow up always just thinking that you're not man enough, you know. So,
Yes, that's fucked up.
you know,
Yeah, it's
And
like
also-
not having kids did not make you woman enough, or being like, you know, bisexual or lesbian, or not wanting to have a children makes you like some, you know, broken.
Yeah. But the thing about this double standard, which I find interesting, is it makes a man more feminine to feel emotions because being feminine is the insult, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Like
nothing
why you like what's the term, like pussy? Why you being a pussy? Yeah.
yeah. So you know, men don't cry because it makes you look like a little bitch or whatever. I don't know if we can curse. I just realized.
I
Yeah.
think
Yes,
so.
please.
Unless-
Yes, please.
Okay.
Curse, dick, vagina, everything you want. We like in works of changing the name. We're not changing, you know, the
context.
purpose, the purpose of that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I truly agree, and also like recently, I've started to study like some introduction to psychology, and I'm moving into psychology and sexology courses, and it is a problem, you know, psychologically, we're so like tense inside of us that makes zero sense for like anyone around, even if that person says, "Oh, like, why are you pussy?" Like, why would you even care? You know. And I mentioned in the previous podcast with D on this topic that there's like a good meme with like two planets, the identical planets, and this like Earth before and after your opinion, and that's really good one because like no one fucking care. I mean, you're free to express your opinion, right? Because it's all about free of speech, la la la. But then I find it weird when like you were not asked about it, you know. So I'm like, it's just like if you express it like in a conversation, it's fine, and it's one thing. Another thing when you express yourself towards some person that you can harm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have ridiculous that make not cry. Do we have another one? Or like being emotionless?
I have another one. Sorry, I'm looking
No,
all
no,
over
go
that.
ahead, go ahead. Bring all of them.
The fact that tampons and pads and birth control for women are so expensive and hard to get, but you can get Viagra anywhere you fucking want to.
Yes.
Get prescription for Viagra.
You
You
need
can just
prescription
walk
for
into the
Viagra?
store
Yes.
and get Viagra.
Well, good thing I don't know that yet. Good
Yes,
thing.
yes. Well, hope you'll never know, you know.
Right.
You know,
No.
preach. But like, actually, that's a good point. But you guys in States, do you have like free birth control thing?
We do, but it's not as easy to come by as you'd think.
Okay, because we don't have at all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, I think what was that? I think Sweden was the first one to have like free pads and tampons for women. Was it
Oh, I don't know, but that makes
Yes.
sense to me.
Yeah, some of those countries, because yeah, and it's expensive. And if you use like vegan ones, you know, that doesn't contain any plastic, it's even more expensive. And that's so weird. Yeah, but again, and the same with like contraception as well, like because women are like, you know, people, guys especially, oh, you aren't you on the birth control? Like, no, because first of all, fucks up your body a lot. I've been through that. I had a blood clot in my leg as a side effect of birth control, and I couldn't walk for a month or so. And now, like, my entire body could be fucked up, and that like cuts off a lot of things for me to do. And then, you know, when guys like, oh, condoms are not, you know, comfortable. I'm just like, it's not comfortable either way, to be honest. But then, you know, why we should fuck up our bodies? We already go through enough, you know. So yeah, that is. But it's again, it's a long standard, which is yeah. Well, like remember back in the time, well, like remember like we were there, but like back in the day, women were staying at home during period because they obviously couldn't leave. And then when they were pregnant, after a certain amount of time, when you show the belly, you cannot go outside because it was like, oh, she's pregnant. Oh my God. People cannot look at you. What was that about? Like, like she's some monster or something. That was so weird. I think it was like in some movie or something. I was like, eh?
Wow, that's crazy.
How's that? Like that is
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
David, do you have any double standards that are ridiculous in your opinion? Well, besides all of them being ridiculous.
Breastfeeding in public, that's one thing. Like in the States, I mean, there's certain beaches that are like for like, you know, topless and stuff like that. But
Well,
like in
everywhere, yeah.
Europe, everybody like, yeah, and you know, I felt like the first time I went to tour in Europe, and you know, I'll go to the beach and all that, and people will be just like relaxed. I'll be like, that's lovely, because then it should be like that. Like if people just want to do that, then people should just do it. And like I feel it took a matter of, and sometimes this is really kind of sad when they will hear speak English, like then they will cover up, like pretty much they'll be like, oh, these guys are not mature enough. Like it was so weird, you know. But I felt like, you know, in Europe that was super good, that everybody would just um up about it, like nobody cared, and everybody was a little more free about it. And you know, here in the States is a little more like, oh my gosh, a nipple, like
Penis.
it's like, you know, it's like, what's the difference, you know, really. But that for me is funny, like that we like, oh, that's a guy nipple, oh, that's a girl nipple, block it, you know. It's like
I find
oh,
it
that,
if it's even more funny than in States, the strip club culture and webcam culture is enormous. It's not big, it's not huge, it's enormous. Yet, yeah, it's just like I want to go to the strip club. I mentioned it before, but I don't want my daughter, my girlfriend, my wife, my mother be a stripper. So why do you even go there then? Like then, you know, eliminate it. But yeah, that's crazy. And so the funniest thing is that I get the beach because obviously if you're on the beach, there's water near it, like ocean, sea, lake, doesn't matter. I don't know if you guys ever, you or the listeners ever did swim in the water without bathing suits or shorts. It is fucking amazing. The boobies are free, you know, they're floating like freely in the water, and it's so beautiful and it's so relaxing. And it's natural as well, so as breastfeeding. But then, you know, when we see like outside, like a little bit boob, you're just like, or like, oh, boobs, and you were like creeping on it. We all
Yeah.
have it. I mean, bigger, smaller, nicer, like not nicer, whatever. But you act like you've seen it the first time. Yeah, you go home and you went to like, I don't know, tons of porn and you pay for tons of porn. Why is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that is ridiculous. Do you guys think like those double standards, like which particular influence us to believe like that is normal? You know what I'm saying? So like that
Yeah.
already like so stuck in our head that it's, kind of a part of routine of life. What are like, I don't know, like a couple of those, one, two, three, whatever. Like
Yeah.
besides being a man and a woman, like double standard, I don't know, like especially now with like COVID and everything, like besides being man and woman in a society, do have those like double standards that like influence us, like on a daily basis, whatever. Like drinking in the morning is bad. That's I don't
Oh,
like that one.
Eh, you know,
Like what? It makes you an alcoholic.
I mean, there's church at 8 a.m. and they drink wine.
Exactly.
I mean,
And Jesus would turn into the water into wine.
are
That's my
we
guy.
talking
He's
about
my
this?
hero, personal hero.
Yeah, he would be like, "Hey, we gotta do a beer run." He'll be like, "Bro,
just just chill.
we got the munchies." He'll be like,
Just guys, I'm good. Just chill. And he's like, yeah. I like
"Fish
that
and
one.
bread."
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think you face double standards in like your being a musician and like kind of like the pressure of being a musician in the sense that like you're required to like party or behave or like interact with people in a certain way. And I think you can talk about this yourself, but as someone that's like changed their lifestyle a lot, I feel like there's still always a pressure to like be the party boy or the fuck boy or like
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Cause like I have like sex experts. So it's just like, oh, you just like to take dick. It doesn't mean that. Like there's two different things. The same, like I decided to take the step into sexology precisely, right? And then it doesn't mean anything. That's a study. That's a part of like me. But it like I do love dick, but it doesn't mean you're gonna text me on IG and I'm just gonna hop on it. Like, no. And I think that's like, what it fucks up the entire mind, especially women like posting like, like cute pictures. It's self-love. It's like, yeah, I like to show off and it's fine. So yeah, I think that is also like an issue, but like do elaborate on like party boy thing. Cause like you're not like a rapper. You're not on like, like super rock band. You're on the saxophone. So it's like a different type of music.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like it honestly, it's just because of like my personality. Or, I don't know, like who I collab with, like who I work with. Usually, like I always end up like meeting a lot of people and making a lot of good connections, and I always ended up in the good spots. Like I don't know. I feel like everything's given to you so easy to like go down and in the party animal
Hmm.
mode.
But we've partied together. It wasn't a party. We went to see flamenco show with like a band, and I was
Oh,
there, and yeah, it was just like chilling. At some place. It wasn't like a party, rave party, but it was just like a pleasant time where you just like enjoy like culture. We were in Spain, and yeah, so it doesn't make you particularly a party boy, like which is fucked up. But I also think it's a pressure of being an artist in States, maybe no.
oh yeah. Yeah, it is like I don't know. Man, it's kind of like it's been such a long time since I party really because of COVID.
Well, we all
You
we
know,
all in there.
but it's like I don't know. I love people. I love being around people. So I think that's like my good and bad thing that I can never stop. And I'm always full of energy and I can run in little sleep.
Mm,
But
okay.
I don't know, man. It's kind of like I feel like everything just you're expected always to be like going and going and going and going and going and not like take a break and stop, which is like what I've liked from this COVID stuff because like I've been able to get a lot of things accomplished and like yeah, like I've loved it. Honestly, it's good to after all these years on like party, like no party, like touring and doing all these crazy things. It feels good to just like take a break and just like 1 year of like not doing that and like and then
Mm,
you could actually be like, do you want to get back out there and do it again? And I'm like, hell yeah, but like now I'm gonna, it's a different approach. Now I'm gonna be a little more grateful and stuff. But like I feel like if I don't want to do something, I don't want to hang out or I don't want to go out or party crazy, I'll just be like, I'm going, I'm leaving. Like, my mentality had changed. Being away from it, it's definitely helps a lot. you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's like therapy, like you're not like using it every day, you're not traveling, la la la. So yeah, that's for sure. I feel it because entire life I thought I was extrovert. I was like, I love people, I love going parties. I need to put myself wine as well. And uh bottoms up. Bex, come on. Okay. Bottoms
Uh,
up.
oh yeah,
Finish
yeah.
it.
What's up?
Finish it. Like Mortal Kombat. um yeah, I feel like entire life I thought I was extrovert, and then the first lockdown happened and I was in Madrid by myself, and for 4 months I didn't leave house besides like going in the middle of the night throw out trash because I didn't even have mask to put on. I was like, oh, actually I'm introvert, I'm so comfortable in this stage. And I was like, but then I realized, okay, probably I'm extrovert would need it, and then introvert most of the time because now we're in lockdown, and I feel like I'm already in like my body and my mind are growing in the stage of quarantine. I'm like studying, working, I'm doing so many things that I don't even have time, like barely like to sleep and exercise. I mean, that's also
Yeah.
interesting discovery. And that's like part of like self-love that we had a few episodes back, that people like need to, like a lot of people during quarantine face themselves in this like close space. But what about you, Bags? Like what are like those double standards within like being, besides being a woman, that a lot of pressure is on? Like what do you face, like you said, like work wise, right, influences your age, but like what other stuff is there?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you just touched upon a really good one that I hadn't thought about before, which is like the double standard of you're not working hard enough unless you're killing yourself, essentially.
Yeah.
Like I was definitely a worker before quarantine who was the first one at work, the last one to leave, working
I feel
7 days
you.
a week, like really grinding because I thought that's what I needed to do. And like, my health came second to my
Yeah.
job. Um, and COVID has definitely taught me that I can do both and like take a lot of care of myself. And that still means that I'm a competent worker. But I do think that like sometimes people feel like if you're not doing enough, you're not doing anything at all. And I think that that's a really harmful practice.
For
Yeah, I
sure.
totally feel you because that's who I am. I always think it's not enough. So I had like a 13-hour day, and then I'm just like, I barely did anything. I didn't accomplish everything I wanted. And it sucks. But then on the other hand, of those, let's say like 12 hours, I work like 8, but then other 4 or 5 hours I dedicate to studies, like something that brings me joy. Especially there's like for me this quarantine, like previous and this one, is good because there's no distractions of like friends going out, partying, staying up way too late on like work week, then have like broken day, whatever. So just like I accomplish like more because I'm like more focused into that point. But yeah, it is exhausting, but it depends like how you put it. Definitely. But yes, it made me realize that, at this point I really want to focus on myself because I always make time for food, for relaxing time before bed, for sleep and exercise. That is a must. Like as I said in the beginning, like I try to do Sunday literally doing nothing, because like 6 days of the week I'm like out there hustling. And at some point it's a good thing, but then if you've been doing the entire life and you feel like you need a break during quarantine, that's your fucking chance, and you go into it.
Yeah, I liked it because like I don't. This is like off topic, but like for me, man, I feel like as a musician, you never have time off. Like because
Yeah.
time off, is like you don't play. So and I tour with many bands. So like I usually have like on deck at least like 6 bands that call me, and then I'll fly in from one band one day, and then the next day I'm flying with another one. I'm playing with another one. On the flight to that band, I'm learning the set of another band by memory. So it's like a lot of info, and I love it. But it's like it takes a toll on you for sure. So like, and also sometimes it's been hard also to like say no to things, but now I'm a little
Yes.
more about like, hey, I'm not gonna do
Because it's
that.
like an opportunity, right? And you just like, yeah, you want to like catch every opportunity that you have, and it's exhausting. Yes.
That's a good one too, because not like that's a double standard, I think, too, because not every opportunity is a worthwhile opportunity. And
Yes.
like that's something that I feel like takes a lot of experience. And like I feel like we're starting to learn that for ourselves, that
For
like just
sure.
because someone's offering us an opportunity doesn't mean it's the right thing to take at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really actually good when you have a chance and like a materialistic way of like waging thing like, okay, do I really want to do it, or I can like say no to that? Because like when we're talking about those kind of things, we're mostly talking about money, right? Opportunity and money. So, or like your time, which is also money. You rather like do another gig as a musician, or like, I don't know, take another job, better job, or like another gig in theater, or, some part-time things. I think that's very important also to know like your value as well of your
Totally.
time.
Yeah.
That's really good one. Yeah. We're
For
like going
sure.
like in between like double standards and like to more philosophical topics. I love
Mhm.
it.
Keep in mind.
Now it's going to be like interesting questions about relationship. This is why we're precisely with D, we're looking for a couple. And again, I'm very thankful for you guys to like on such short notice like to answer us. And I love you as a couple because like I see your stories and I was like every single time, that's so cute, I cannot. But yeah, relationship double standards for you guys as a couple. Were there any like double standards that you think can effectively ruin your relationship, or you face some of those that were like either close, or you just like, hey, this ruined our relationship, let's not do this, and they're like,
Yeah. I was gonna say that like just like we were in the professional world, we were experiencing a little more of like self-love about like what's an opportunity, like deal with like this, how much sacrifice an opportunity is gonna take from you. So like I feel when we take all that to like a relationship, you also like be like, okay, this is what I want. That's not a red flag. That's actually like people, like sometimes we ignore so many red flags at the beginning of a relationship,
right.
that like just because you really want it, and then you see yourself caught up in a relationship you don't want, and dealing with double standards that are part of the core of your partner that you cannot erase,
Mhm.
because that's who they are. But like I feel with us we're really good because like we keep things really balanced. Like, we both like, I don't know, like I don't feel like if there's any one time that we have like double standards, we call each other out and like we talk about it. I feel like we're both open to growth, and
Mhm.
like, I mean, it's nothing. Nobody gets shamed here for like being wrong.
Right.
You get
That's really
shamed if
good
you're
point.
like
Yeah.
not open to learn.
That's really good thing.
I
You
feel like you
just
should
like
be
to
shamed
talk
for.
it out. Yeah, like you face it. Okay, I have this one. Let's talk it out. I think that's very nice and mature that like a lot of people in their 20s don't have, like especially like 2025, where you have to find someone and marry, la la la, which is not a double standard. I think it's really cute. What I've been introduced lately, it is very interesting conception that got me thinking so deep though. I was like, I spent like a couple of days just thinking about it. Is that we as couples now, like despite the fact that like dating apps and like hookups, a culture being very popularized, what I face is that we're like such a loners, and I've been one of those loners, right? I was like, okay, I want either like a Disney fucking story, like decent man, decent relationship, or I don't want it at all, like take or go. And it was like 100 or zero, like minus 100. So it was like two extreme points. And then Robin introduced like when you actually decide and step into a relationship, and we've been seeing so many like like music videos, movies about like everything going so peaceful within like 3 4 months, and then some point you start fighting, you start doing la la la, and you break up and you're like heartbroken. Where this like beginning period, honeymoon period, is where you just like it's
Mhm.
all about sex, kisses, which is very pleasant things, but you barely talk. on like actual things that would, as I will quote a very close person to me, foundation of the relationship. And I've introduced the model where you have the honeymoon parallel with the building a foundation if you're like both on the same page. So I think that's also very important when you're on the same page and you like not just like all sex and like honeymoon period, kisses, I don't know, flowers, whatever, candles, rope pellets, whatever it is, but then also like talking and building, like getting to know each other as people in different situations and perspective, which can help ruin those like double standards in a relationship between two different personalities when they come along like in a relationship. Does it make sense? And I think it's really interesting a conception. Then you're like within those 3 months you already have your honeymoon period and you already know what person it is. That eliminates all the like future like fights over nothing basically. And it's really interesting. The conception, I think, can actually save a lot of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at least like, or not even save relationship, but like at least see where the relationship is going. Are you like on the same lane, or like it's just very mutual honeymoon sex stage and you're just like, ooh.
I mean, I think that one of the things that I did in this relationship that I've never done before is tell him what my deal breakers were at the beginning.
Like what?
I So there were a few things. I was like, if we're like boyfriend and girlfriend, you have to tell your family about me immediately. Like, I'm not a secret. You tell your friends that you have a girlfriend. Like,
Right.
you post me on your Instagram. Like, I am not a secret. Like, you need to be very like proud that you're with me. Like, that feels very important to me that you show me off as your partner.
Right.
I think like also we talked a lot about teamwork, which to me, this could definitely fall in a double standard. Like, I don't do all the cooking and the cleaning. Like, we do all of this shit together. So like we pull the same amount of weight in the household, because if I feel like I'm catering to you, like I'm gonna resent you, and that's gonna be a bad thing. So I feel like we were able to kind of put it on the table, and I was like, if you don't do these things, like I think I'm gonna be unhappy,
Yeah.
So
well, which is like basically you're in this double standard. You've been out front as a human being and a woman right away. Okay, so like this is this, because like when you enter like this like honeymoon stage relationship stage, a guy's like, oh, suck my dick, and they expect it. But then, when you bring, hey, I'm not cooking by myself, and they're just like, that's odd, that's interesting, what you mean? So I think it's very important, like a bossy feeling as well, because there are two people in a relation, two personalities. And when you land it on the table, it's like, hey, I like this, I don't like this, I will never tolerate this, and this. So like, are we on the same page? And that's it. Either yes or no. Because no one, I feel like no one should actually compromise on things. You can just talk through it and like come to a conclusion and a decision. But like compromising is not really a wow, because someone has to give up something of their own, like, unless it's like being dirty, then you should give it up. That's my like compulsive cleaning disorder talking, like little Monica inside of me, just like clean everything after yourself. But I mean, it's common sense, because I hate cockroaches, and China taught me well that cockroaches appear from everywhere. So that's another topic. I'm sorry. Are there any like double standards that actually help build a relationship? Do you think those exist?
I think they exist. I don't know if they're double standards or they're more like stereotypes, but like I definitely use some stereotypes to my advantage, where I'm like, David, I need you to fix this thing.
Right.
So I feel like we have
it is a part of the double
like,
standard where like a woman cannot fix, I don't know, a change a law or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like I could do it, but like you
well, why would I
could
do it if I have a man right here? I feel you. I do the same.
Yeah, or like the double standard where like I expect David to protect me, like in a situation, like I expect him to be able to like protect me from.
Not if there's a cockroach though.
Yeah.
If there's a cockroach, we're equal.
Honey, take off your slipper, not mine, and kill the. Yeah. Well, that's a good one. Yeah.
If there's a cockroach, we're all equal. I'm running.
We had a cockroach situation, not here.
Oh shit.
I have this house in an area of California, and it gets like, if you're not there for a long time, the cockroaches come in. So like when we got to the house after it had been like 6 months of no one being in the house, and it was bad. It was
But they all died. They're all dead.
Oh, but like
there was like
that body, like murder scene stuff.
Yeah, it's just dead bodies. But you when guys like when you expect like the culture is like guys always have to pay and like ask out and all that stuff. You know, I feel nowadays there's a little more evenness, which I like. You know,
Right.
because then it's not expected. I like it. You know, it's cool to take care of it. Yeah, like but like now there's not an expectation. It's not like you know, it's a little more. I like it. You know, I grew up in the one side, and then little by little, I've seen the change. You know, I've seen the change in it. So
See, I didn't let David pay for anything our first few dates because I feel like this is going back to gender, but I get nervous that guys think I owe them something if they
Yes.
if they pay for something of mine. So that was like something I wouldn't let happen anyway.
Yeah,
Because I just don't want anyone to think I owe them anything.
yeah, because like
Yeah,
this,
then-
like who pays? Like, oh, you have to give me something because I pay, but like you pay for food, and I'm not getting paid for like going on dates. So because like this makeup costs like more than dinner, okay? And the lingerie and the fact that I shaved my legs just in case, it took time, it took my energy. I didn't cut myself. That's a lot of work, okay? So, the jewelry, like gold and stuff, it costs money. So, what I think that I mentioned like many, many times before, that for me, the person who, okay, you good?
bless you.
I sneezed, sorry.
Look at her, gotta let it bless her, so it's fine. What I faced, what for my standard, like I don't like guy paying for. I will always offer to pay, even though it's my less money. That's my pride. And like I can pay for myself. I don't need you to pay for my la 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 dinner, food, whatever. And on the other hand, if you want to split the check on the first date, for me that means you're not interested enough. I'm not talking about dinner or like not dinner. I'm not talking about like drinks, we're going out, la la la. I'm talking about like a proper first date kind of thing where like yeah, if you don't pay, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm fine with like sharing, it's fine, but like in terms of like what kind of date it is. But then again, for me it's more of like intentions, because again, I put an effort, I made it time, I'm a very busy person, and if I'm going out with you on a date, I mean it. And I always will offer to pay, but if you agree to that, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe because I've been on too many bad days that I had to pay for, and I didn't really like it. Maybe that's the case.
Say like it depends definitely like the mood of the date. Like I feel like it depends for sure. But
No,
like
it
one
definitely
time,
depends, but, like-
remember that one time like, we went out and we just spent like almost $200 in shots.
I mean, shots is beautiful, and I would spend 100 for that out of 200 for sure. I mean, that's shots. That's what I'm talking like. Drinks and going out is like a bit different, than just like a proper date with a dinner, with talks, la la la. Because that's the thing. I would gladly ask you out. I would gladly, because again, as Beck said, like, oh, I don't cook by myself. I don't like serve you. But then again, if like we like going into that and I see you, like, it's a pleasure for me to give you presents, to cook food for you, to like make like this little cute dates. Even if we're in quarantine, we can have picnic in my room or in my apartment or in your apartment, doesn't matter. So it just like it's little cute things. It's a thoughtfulness that counts more. So it doesn't mean like, oh, I want you to pay for everything. No, hell no. Especially if I'm working, like in a relationship and he's working, la la la. But
Yeah.
There is double standard. That is a double standard that I take, but on the first date. That's the limit. I don't expect you
For
to pay for
sure.
every single date, every single thing I want for my rent. Hell nah. But the first date for me is a must.
Hmm. But at least you know that, and you can say that, like I think, as we said, being able to vocalize what you want and what you need is the most important.
Mhm. Well, I don't
Yeah.
vocal. I'm not being vocal about it because obviously then dude would like, yeah, I'll pay, whatever, you know. So for me, it's just like I'll just watch. But I think it's coming from like me
Sounds like
having
a test. I would think about it because it sounds like a test to me.
right. Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
kind of test. Yeah, I would say. Do you think there are any double standards within a friendship?
Ooh.
Hmm.
I have really good.
Uh,
That's a reboot episode.
I I think sometimes when like in friendships like you could have like that friend that always calls you for advice or like calls you when they're in trouble, but whenever you reach out they're not there for you, you know, or
Mhm.
like they only yeah, or like they only use you for that part of your friendship, you know.
That's really
That could be
good
one.
word. Like they're basic users of your good personality and they're not giving back. I think that's the most important thing for me in a friendship where people, I'm giving a lot and I expect you to at least like level up and give me, you know, something back with like purpose of like extension. I understand that every person is different and gives different things out, but then at least if we like long-term friendship, yeah, I expect you to be there for me 24/7, to be honest. If like I'm not
Yeah.
saying I'm gonna need the help 24/7, but if
Yeah.
I need, you have to be there, you know.
Yeah. And I think there are like double standards. This is like not, this is about friendship, but also about relationships. Like when couples talk about like if you're allowed to have girlfriends or guy friends,
Mm,
separately,
yeah,
one of my other like deal breakers for David was that like, I wanted to be able to meet all his friends, especially like I don't care that he has girlfriends. Like I welcome that and like think he should have girlfriends. I think that's really healthy for men to have girlfriends.
yeah,
But like just do me the respect of like introducing me one point and then I'll feel more comfortable if you hang out with them without me. So like just so like I'm aware of who these people are, we have like some sort of like conversation, and then like I won't feel like scared that you're like going to hang out with your girlfriend.
no,
you
that makes
know
total
and
sense.
I'm
I
not
mean,
really like a jealous person.
no, but that makes total sense
Yeah,
because
no, I'm not.
when other women friends or like because there is a myth that every male female or female male relationship friendship wise are like, oh, someone is into someone, la la la, and it puts a mental pressure on the partner in a relationship. So I think it's very important to like distinguish, like, hey, that's my girlfriend, I love her, but like we're good, like I like the talk, the way we talk. I like the, la la la, how we communicate, and it's nothing bad. And I do have a lot of like couple friends where I am great with both like male or females, but it doesn't mean like someone wants to fuck me or vice versa.
Mhm.
And I did have a couple, I still have like a few male besties, and we are at that point and never moved either way. I do think it's important, as you
Mhm.
said, like to make a total establishment of your relationship when you're in a relationship with someone else. That is totally a thumbs up.
Mhm.
Because I feel like the same vibe never goes away, of the same mindset of envisioning your girlfriend or your boyfriend to hang out with your group of friends and being like chill,
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, like I feel like me and her like we share a lot of friends now, and like we don't like we get along with each other's friends really well. Like we don't have to be like, oh, we got to hang out with. It's like,
I
hey,
mean,
yeah,
that's
where's
not a
that? So
friendship
everything.
anymore.
So I feel like, yeah.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that. Like, I feel like that for me now, it would be a deal breaker if like, I feel like I'd experience it now to have like a comfortable person that like we share, like we can have friends. We have our friends, but if I jump in that circle, it won't be weird. Nobody will be like,
Yeah.
I'll be able to have my own conversations with them, or as well. So,
Yeah, and like
you
the
know,
friends or like girlfriend especially won't treat you like, oh, that's her man, That's very important to like actually like come to the topic as okay, there's a human being, they're together and it's fine. Um, Vex, have you ever had like a male friend who would like at some point not like shaming you, but it was like under the covers saying like, oh, but like I get it, it's fine because you're my friend. Have you ever had that? Or David, have you ever had this kind of thing? I think guys pressure more women than vice versa.
Yeah, like I have a really good friend that we like used to tell me, like if I had told him that I slept with someone, let's say,
Yeah.
he would be like, well, you like really don't respect yourself. Like you clearly like are not gonna, that's not gonna be the person you're in a relationship with. No guy wants to be with a girl that he just slept with. Like,
I know
Um,
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So, like, I feel like a lot of guys give girls that advice. Like, no guy wants to be with the girl that they just slept with, which is clearly a double standard
And it's
when
not the case,
guys,
right? It's like the same.
and
I
not the
don't have a relationship with
yeah.
not on dating app, but like he actually can because we talked about it like on dating app episode with D that you meet as a tool on dating app, but then it goes beyond and like you cannot stay in a relationship if like people do not connect.
Mhm.
They connect through app as a tool, but then what comes after the like same honeymoon period is completely different.
I don't shame anybody to do what, like, to have fun the way they think is how they thought it was fun at the moment. I feel like sometimes guys with their girlfriends are like, oh, you used to do that, and with their guy friends they are like, oh yeah, sleep around, and like it comes like, man, everybody has needs, and somebody I feel like your point as a friend should be like, you should check on that you're not sleeping around. Like, are you sleeping around to hide some kind of emptiness or something?
Yes,
Like, that would be my
that's
only thing to
care.
ask. Like,
That is a
everything okay? Are
care,
you having
care
fun?
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you having sex because you want to have sex, or are you having sex because you are insecure, or you need some sort of validation, or like what's actually
Yeah.
happening? And if it is just sex, then that's perfectly fine, and you do you.
Yeah.
Okay, double standards in sex. This is Reboot episode, and I will just give you guys to, think about it because I know already me and Bax are thinking about the same fucking things on double standards in sex. But let's hear David first. Go ahead.
Oh wow. Double
Are there
standard.
any double standards in sex? Because there are. And what are you aware of? And maybe you had some. It's fine that you had some. We all had like influenced by double standards, but like elaborate it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm aware of some. I feel like I'm a super like level human when it comes to like sex standards. Like, I'm like, I'm really level on that. Like, I don't feel like I ever, because I'm always aware of like, I'm really insightful on like what's people around me feeling. So that carries to everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like, sometimes like guys do I feel like the common things are for guys to expect more from the women, like, and like guys will always be like, oh, I hope she's good at that, blah 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 blah. But like,
At what as at what?
like, like,
Say the
oh, she
words.
gotta give me
Say the words.
whatever.
I'm restricting from kids. You can say the words.
Like, all these guys sometimes have such like high standards for like girls, like, oh, she better be good at giving head, or like anything, like, oh, or sexual preference or whatever. But like some of these motherfuckers, because I hear a lot of girls complaining, like, and the usual thing is like guys don't know what the fuck they doing. You know, they have such a high standards, but they don't take the time to know what the fuck to do.
But
Back
let's
to
just face it.
like,
Most of the guys don't know where the clit is.
hey, yeah,
It's just out
you
there.
know. I mean, true. It's just like it takes a lot of, you gotta learn. You just no, nobody knows, like, wakes up and know how to do that. You also have to know. I like that actually shows how much you care about people. You know, I feel like
Yes.
it's a give and take stuff. I mean, it translating whatever you do, like in whatever activity, you know, whoever goes on and whatever. It's like you gotta be able to. If you ask for something, you gotta be able to also give it back. You know,
Right.
you know.
Equivalent.
I don't
Like
know. Are you?
that's actually that makes
Also, I
perfect
feel
sense.
like, also, I mean,
I'm
yeah,
here. So.
David is a very, very good looking guy. Like, we know that he had his fair share around amount of times around the block, like, which is definitely like more praised for him than it would have been for me.
Which is
You
also
know,
double
Double
standard
standards.
right there.
yeah. I mean, when we were like able to finally like take walks outside of the apartment, everywhere we went, it was like, hey David, hey David, hey David, girls on the
Oh,
street, like, and I
damn.
was like, oh,
I would
this
be
this
crying.
is this is the deal.
You know, I feel like also that's one great thing. You know, when we started dating, I didn't like. It's like I didn't like tell her like, hey, I'm this and this, and I told her pretty much what I lacked of. Like I always flex and like, oh, I do this, I tour, blah blah, I'm a musician, blah, look at me. But when we hang out, we work friends first, you know, and then I was like, yeah, and she will hear everything and like from everything, you know, all the things that all the wrong things you could tell somebody to impress them, like total
Right.
opposite of impress them, you know, more like run away. But like then everything was so laid out that it was just perfect to go through everything. There was no like things that nobody knew about. So you know, so
Yeah,
whenever
and
we,
it's I think it's
yeah,
very important to like keep your partner in open because like again we're hitting like 30s, you know, so like or like late 20s, so it's important. Like obviously we all have past, and some people want to hear about it, some people don't want to hear about it, but like it's good to understand that your partner had the past, you know, especially like I've been single for 9 years,
Yeah.
you know, and my man is, I hope he is like fine with that, but like he established that he is fine with that because you cannot erase it, you cannot like hit like, you know, time machine and go back in time and erase that or change that stuff. It is what it is, it comes with my experience. I grew a lot since then, and you know, I'm ready like to hit another level, like bunch of other levels. And it's different, especially when the good person and the like legitimate person comes through. um
Yeah.
but then let's go more into like sex
Actually.
because you know
like
it's,
sex.
I'm not gonna be tired to repeat it. It's reboot
You start.
episode of from we transferring from Daily Dick Show to a new name that is a surprise for you guys. So we are going to still do sex, just under the different name for the podcast. So Bex, I'll start first on the biggest double standard is that if you give head, you don't have to actually return it like back. Like when a woman gives a head to a guy, it doesn't necessarily mean that he will give you head back.
Mhm.
Have you ever faced that?
I sure have.
And that is so fucked up. David, have you ever done that?
No, like I said, I'm an equal guy.
I don't believe that. You've
Me?
I
not
mean,
given
what if
head
it
to
was like a you know, like a
anyone.
very weird hookup and you just like,
This is not, we know this
Well,
is not true.
well, that's true. You know what? I am probably it's true. It's probably true that it's a standard. Like, you know what?
You choose the girls that you want to give head to. You don't give head to every girl that
And
you
those
That's
want.
like
true.
guys, and those guys that press on your head to go down, you just like, I'm sorry. There's a door. You have to leave now. TikTok, motherfucker, because it's actually disrespectful in any terms of relationship, you know. Uh, I don't even appreciate when like, you know, my hand being taken to the dick unless I am, you know, comfortable with the person and la la la, and it's a part of our like inside game or inside relationship, it is fine. But when they do just like here, I'm like, I don't do that. Why would you
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, or like the whole point of sex. We actually were talking about this the other day, but like the whole point of sex being about the guy getting off and then it's done and over.
Wait. Let me roll my eyes once again. Not enough. Never enough.
I feel like now that you say that, I do feel like guys always expect that the head, but like I do now that I think I have to study, I have to go back in history and like and think, but like I do feel like that's like yeah, it's like a standard, but like I don't know, I feel like I've always, although like not all my like all my full self always been like a preacher of being like respectful, you
Right.
know, somewhat I'll always try to be as respectful as I could, even though some, but like nowadays, hell yeah, because I don't do like anything like that I don't feel proud of. But like if I ever did in the but in that kind of settings, I feel like I always been mindful, you know, and always being respectful, because like I feel like I always hear so many bad stories
Hmm.
that like I always feel like a necessity to be different, you know. But of course, there's other ways that I was being disrespectful that, you know, that they were not physically, or you know, have to do with like the way probably I talk, or the way I'm not paying attention. It's like, you know, things that was a fault for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like
Well, we
that's
all been there. Like we all have those kind of experiences. But like the point is like, yeah, it's like very ultimate stereotype and double standard that a woman like expected to give head when a guy he will take his time to, you know, come around the door of the pussy because it's like inside organ.
like some of my guy friends in Panama, of course, they'll be like, "Oh, now you all like about this relationship." But it's funny because like it, it hit me like, you know, us as guys, we try to be like, oh, like cool and shit, and yeah, like always being cool, but like, and girls like that. But I think the sweet spot, it's like whenever a guy's like a good boyfriend,
A nice
a
guy.
nice fucking guy.
Not even like a nice guy, a nice person, you know, because like I am all down for, you know, crawling in bed with my man. We're not having sex tonight, you know, just like I'm very like out there girlfriend, right? Or a woman of my man. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna make sure you tucked into your sleep well, you know, I'm gonna kiss all over your face. It's like little things that are really like nice and sweet, not just like dirty, like bang, 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 which is always nice. Well, I hope it's always nice for everyone in a relationship, but you know, those like little things that matters, which makes you like not only your boyfriend, girlfriend type of like relationship, but also like a human, and you are building something inside of it because you're like very sensitive towards each other, because
Yeah.
this is the because like sex at some point will pass, because you see like all this like cute grandpa and grandmas, they're holding hands in their 90s, they don't have sex anymore. What do you think they're doing the entire day?
Um, Gun blowjobs.
I hope they are, I hope they are, but like on the other hand, you know, it's like it's a built foundation in relationship as it is, you know,
Yeah.
with good and bad when it comes. But yeah, it's a nice thing when you just like can have this like, you know, little things inside besides like physical attraction.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I'm so
And it's
down.
important. I was reading something the other day that was talking about how, like, you know, you can just like touch a guy and then he's horny and wants to have sex. But like a girl, like, has to get there emotionally to actually, like, not like they have to be in love with the person, although that helps, but like they have to, like, you have to like be able to conceive the idea of sex and like emotionalize it before having sex with this person.
I actually think you have a really
Yeah.
good point on that, because like even if you're in a relationship for like some period of time, and then your personality is the sex driven thing, because you've been to like dick and pussy, like, already for each other, but what keeps it going is a personality. Because like you can have a snitch like made up body with ass, boobs, lips, I don't know, whatever like people do. uh it's just still a personality that attracts. It is like personality. I want to like
Yeah.
you see me, and I want you to have a hard on, not because we're gonna fuck, but because you saw me and you be able to hug
Yeah.
me. And that is what, is a turn on, is a pure turn on after those like honeymoon stages.
Yeah.
Like the
And
like
I
the the particular one, which is like 3 months of like, getting all the sex and drive within, and then afterwards come to relationship.
Yeah. And like, this is not to knock like casual sex. Like, I'm definitely like, people can do whatever they want. But there is something so different about having sex with someone you love or care for, that just is so transcendent to another level because you love them and you care about them and you want to make sure that it's a good experience for everyone involved and it's not a selfish, I need something in this moment thing.
For sure.
And I also found that it's interesting because it's not only about like, oh, I want to come thing, even if you both, which is very important, if you both don't come, it's also good because you enjoy the process
Mhm.
so much that you don't even care. I mean, obviously, like getting off is nice for both genders, but like the intimacy that you have, like I think it calls like love making and stuff.
Mhm.
That is what it's important, where you don't actually, because like let's say rushing for the orgasm, it's a hard work, sometimes for males, sometimes for females as well. Well, like most of the time for females, unless you know where your G spot is. But then it is nice to not to rush anywhere and just like stay in the moment, try different positions, do it for hours, but like eventually no one comes, and it's also nice because you had this like intimacy between you that keeps you going, and you're not even getting frustrated even if you didn't come.
Mm.
Sure. I think it's also like important to like explore sexuality as a couple. Like whatever that means for to always think like to always try also find time to like what can you make what can be new, what can we do new, what's to also like spend because each part I feel like it takes you gotta take care of every part. Like if your relationship have so many parts, right? So like I mean some people are not sexual driven or whatever, so
It's
like that's
fine.
good for us. If you are, then you actually should take care of it and be like, what do we do? Like make sure that you're both happy, like
Yeah.
it's okay to say like no, I don't like that. Or be like, hey, I would like this. And be okay to say like, hey, I like that. And she'll be like, oh, you like that? Okay. Like
Let's
be
try it. Yeah, why not?
yeah, like it's like it is cool and be like, oh, never mind, we're not doing that again. It's like that's
Yeah,
the fun.
that is the beauty that you mentioned, David, is that you cannot know what you like or don't like in action unless you try it. And that's very important as a couple to like just experiment. Like, okay, maybe I had this like entire fantasy, but it worked out like really whack, and you just like, oh yeah, hell no. I'm like, as you said, we're not doing that again. So it's really good perspective on the things, like to as a couple to experiment and try things. Otherwise, how would you know?
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's the biggest turn on of your life,
Yeah.
and you've been in the shadow the entire time. The fuck?
I just think that, double standards are unfortunately inherent to society and to different relationships. But the first thing is to acknowledge that they exist. And then you can start figuring out how you fit in with them from there.
yeah. And there are ones that you can use in your advantage. Go for it.
Yes.
Healthy advantage. Healthy
Okay.
advantage.
Thank you, David and Bex. I think it's very important to like acknowledge them, and if they're really fucked up and they don't even like fit in like nowadays society, it's very important to like, you know, have an outspoken personality and mind to speak about it, like that it's fucked up and it's not okay, as we were talking in the beginning about the having babies and getting married before you're 30. Fuck that stereotype. We live to like good 60s, 70s, you know, it's just we just like starting our life after 25, 6, 7-ish into living, and it's fine. I think this is like one of the most very harsh double standards that is pressed within the society in general. So, you know, if you're out there, it's not a microwave a competition. Take your time, do whatever is best for you. Thank you very much, Bex and David, for joining our reboot episode of our podcast, the name that you will know in a week or so. Coming up with a whole rebranding thing for you guys, for you to be able to share the stories, you know, for us to come out wider in everything, la la la, yada 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 things, because apparently Daily Dick show was too explicit. But anyways, we are happy to enter a new stage. Thank you for being a part of this episode. I highly appreciate it on the end of me and Dee, who couldn't join us today. We love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for drinking on Saturday at 11. Noon time. Thank you. And thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and be with us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it got me emotional. Nearly death experience.
Yeah.
I looked into it like it's from so different perspectives, and I was like, damn. Okay, as Beck said, you cannot leave the screen while Zoom is on.
Yeah.
The only thing David is doing is just like pouring the glass. I love it. That's the spirit for Saturday morning. I'm not judging though. I'm just jealous because I didn't start drinking that early. Damn it.